In the quiet valley, the endless drone of summer insects echoed, weaving a rhythm that cloaked the silence. The rice fields stretched wide at the foot of towering mountains, nature's walls rising solemnly around them. From the distance, the silhouettes of a family slowly drew near, their steps carrying a suitcase toward an old building marked Sakurai. As the wooden sliding door creaked open, a heavy stillness embraced them, silence not of peace but of mystery, as if this arrival was not merely a journey, but the beginning of something deeper and far darker. Inside the old Japanese-style home, the family gathered in the tatami room. The gentle chime of a furin swaying outside the window set a peaceful backdrop, layered with nostalgia. Yet the silence was broken by the family's voices, soft complaints from elders who longed to see their grandson more often, their yearning stretching back through the years. Kenichi, the son who had left for Tokyo long ago, now sat stiffly before them. The dark memory of Hanare resurfaces, a place on the outskirts of the village, filled with abandoned houses. Long ago, vagabonds and criminals had gathered there, isolated from the main village. No one knows exactly when it began, but the villagers refused to mingle with them. Eventually, Hanare was demolished with taxpayer money, yet the memory of that place lingers, like an old scar that never healed. Tension at the dinner table thickened as the grandfather recounted the dark history of Hanare. With bitterness, he revealed how poverty drove many to crime, some even selling their underage daughters to survive. His words shattered the uneasy silence, leaving Ryoko and little Hisashi confused and unsettled. Meanwhile, glimpses of the old house in a shadowy corridor crept into the atmosphere. Kenichi, as if trying to escape the weight of the story, turned to his old sketchbook, a window to the past that might hold horrors even darker than his grandfather's tale. Behind his vacant stare, Kenichi gazed at an old sketch depicting a young girl with a gentle smile, as if she were still alive on the time-stained paper. The memory gripped him tightly, cold sweat trailing down his face. Just as he was about to drown in the past, Ryoko and their son stepped into the room. Hisashi rubbed his drowsy eyes, while Ryoko looked on suspiciously, questioning what Kenichi was doing. Nervously, he tried to conceal the sketchbook, but the guilt had already revealed itself in his eyes. Night fell deeper, and silence engulfed the old house. The clock ticked softly, a faint reminder that time never stops. Kenichi, with his wife and child, finally lay down on the futon. Yet, while his body rested, his mind remained restless. The mention of Hanare at the dinner table still echoed inside his head. He turned to see his wife and son already sound asleep, their faces peaceful and untroubled. That night, while everyone else was sound asleep, Kenichi found himself unable to close his eyes. Slowly, he rose from his futon, leaving behind his family's peaceful slumber. Quietly, he walked through the dim hallway of the old house, the sliding door creaking faintly as he moved. Returning to his hometown, he thought, might finally bring back what he had long repressed. A sudden flashback overwhelms Kenichi. He is back in his youth, sitting in a classroom bathed in the golden glow of the afternoon sun. By the window, a girl in her school uniform stood quietly, her expression serene, as though she existed in a world apart from everyone else. Kenichi's gaze was drawn to her, unable to look away, bound by something unspoken that lingered in the air. A classmate beside him noticed and teased with a grin. Kenichi flinched, trying to conceal his feelings. Kenichi grew increasingly consumed by his curiosity toward Maki Endo, a girl who always seemed apart from the world around her. His footsteps eventually led him to the gates of Hanare, a forbidden place shrouded in darkness, pulling him deeper into the past he had long tried to forget. In the quiet of the afternoon, Kenichi was lost in his own world, his pencil moving across the paper with focused intent. But the soft sound of approaching footsteps broke his solitude. As he lifted his gaze, he found Maki Endo standing before him, a figure he had always watched from afar, now suddenly so close, sending his heartbeat into disarray. Kenichi and Maki sat near the old secluded shrine, hidden deep within the forest. The place was rarely visited, even avoided by the villagers, as if abandoned by time itself. Yet for the two of them, its silence offered a safe space to open up. Maki found solace in the quiet, while Kenichi used it as a place to hone his craft. Amid the rustle of leaves and the shadows of trees, a delicate bond quietly began to form. Kenichi finally confessed his feelings to Maki, baring his heart to the girl who had always seemed quiet and withdrawn at school. Yet, in the stillness of the shrine, Maki revealed a softer and more genuine side, making Kenichi happy just by seeing her speak and laugh so freely. From those encounters, love began to bloom between them, even though fate had already set a different and darker path ahead. Kenichi and Maki talked in front of the old shrine, dedicated to the goddess Kikuri-hime, a figure in mythology believed to mediate between the living and the dead. Amidst the silence of the forest, the legend felt almost real, whispering a faint hope that a sincere prayer might open a path to meet once more with those who had already passed away. Around the shrine, wild chrysanthemums known as nokongiku bloomed, symbolizing memories that can never be forgotten. Kenichi picked a stem and handed it to Maki, as if to affirm that her presence was like that of a goddess descended from the heavens. In his gaze filled with admiration, the boundary between human and legend blurred, binding them in a soft, sacred atmosphere. Beneath the shadow of the old shrine, the bond between Kenichi and Maki was finally spoken, without needing many words. The drawing he offered became a symbol of his genuine feelings, while Maki's gentle smile returned the same warmth. Two young hearts, once separated by the prejudice of the village and social distance, now found the courage to confess to each other. In the pouring rain of night, the grown-up Kenichi stood before the old shrine that once bore witness to his first love. The warmth of the past had turned into something eerie, as if each raindrop carried the bitter memories he had long tried to bury. His footsteps were heavy, yet he could not stop, pulled by something caught between nostalgia and guilt. Kenichi recalled his youth, when his family's decision forced him to leave the village and attend school in Tokyo. The pressure from his parents to forget about Maki, the girl from Hanare, still lingered deeply within him. Everything had happened so suddenly, leaving behind promises and feelings that were never voiced. Kenichi and Maki sat together, discussing their uncertain futures. Kenichi was forced to follow his parents' decision to leave for Tokyo, while Maki could only accept that she would remain in the village. Even so, they shared a heartfelt promise, never to forget each other. Maki's body hung among the trees, the lonely sway of the rope marking the tragic end of her unfulfilled promise. The forest, once the witness of their bond, now stood silent in mourning, leaving only dark shadows that merged with the flowing stream below. Lightning split the sky, briefly illuminating the grotesque figure rising from the darkness. A decayed body with a face barely human, yet its eyes glimmered with an unnatural awareness. Heavy breaths echoed, as if something had returned from the land of the dead to claim a promise long broken. The heavy rain poured down, blurring the line between reality and nightmare. Kenichi, now grown, stood at the threshold of two worlds, between a long-buried love and the family waiting for him at home. The decayed body of the girl he once loved clung tightly to him, as if time had never moved on. The quiet morning in the village carried a sense of unease. Ryoko realized that Kenichi had disappeared, leaving his phone behind without a trace of where he had gone. Amid the family's growing worry, last night's heavy rain seemed to have washed away any clue of his path. Meanwhile, Kenichi's past resurfaced once more, deep regrets for not being able to protect the girl he loved in Hanare. In his mind, he felt again the warmth of an embrace that could have taken him far away from all this suffering, but it was nothing more than a bitter memory weighing heavily on him. Kenichi finally opened his heart, confessing that he had never been able to carve his own path. He obeyed his parents blindly, burying his dream of becoming an artist, just as he had abandoned his first love. Yet amid his regrets, Maki too revealed her hidden sorrow. She had longed to escape the harsh reality, the fate that bound her to Hanare. Even so, she held on to a fragment of joy, the drawing Kenichi had once made of her, hanging on her bedroom wall, a bittersweet reminder that there were moments of genuine happiness in her life. Kenichi felt the final call of his fate, as if the voice of the goddess Kikuri-hime echoed from the depths of hell, demanding an inevitable payment. To reunite with those he had lost, The price was nothing less than his own life. With heavy steps, he approached the ancient shrine in Hanar, its doors opening as if to welcome him inside. Meanwhile, his family frantically searched in every direction, realizing the grim truth that Kenichi might have gone to the forbidden place, where the boundary between the living and the dead grows ever thinner. Amid the ruins of the old shrine, Kenichi's body lay still in the wild meadow, his face frozen in an eerie calm after surrendering his life to the goddess of death's call. Wild chrysanthemums bloomed all around him, as if marking the end of a promise that could never be fulfilled. From afar, the desperate voices of his family called out his name, but only silence and the whisper of the wind replied.